Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is the best day of the year, and I'm not exaggerating by much when I say that, because it's a day of the year that I look forward to every year. It is a day that involves books, and many of them. Every year, during the month of May, a couple university presses have big blowout sales. My favorite university press, Princeton University Press, has a 50% off site-wide sale every year during the month of May, which is something that I look forward to a lot. So does Yale, and I love Yale as well. They also have a 50% off site-wide sale. So during the month of May, I hoard my coin throughout the year, and then during the month of May, I splash out on those two university presses in particular and just get myself a ton of books. Last year, admittedly, I went a little bit too crazy. This year, I am so excited because I really think that I chose a lot of quality over quantity, and I got exactly the books that I want and exactly the types of books that I will be reading throughout the next year until next year's May sale. Very exciting. Again, 50% off site-wide on Princeton University Princeton University Press's website. I am not sponsored by them in any way, but during the month of May, I spend like the first week curating a cart. I don't just throw a bunch of things in a cart and order it. I spend a lot of time over a couple of days really sort of fine-tuning what I want to get, what I want to spend my money on, because again, I don't buy used. I pretty much exclusively buy used books. I mean, all the books behind me pretty much are used. All the books over there, over there, over there. I buy a lot of used books, but when I want to buy new books, I usually reserve all of that for this sale. So it's a big moment for me, and the books arrive in the mail. They are sitting in front of me in a nice big box, smaller than last year's. Again, last year I went a little bit too crazy, but this year I'm just thrilled at what I got. So I will unbox this on camera. I also ordered, this is the Princeton University Press haul. I have the haul from Yale in the mail. It should be coming soon, and I might unbox that one on camera as well, though it is a lot smaller than this one. But okay. Now I know what's in here, obviously, because I ordered it myself. None of these are a surprise. However, a lot of these I don't know much about. Some of them I know more than others. But what I thought I'd do is, for the majority of these, I'm just going to read the inside flaps or the back jacket copy, because those will give a better introduction to these books than I can give, you know. So the first one is Unfailing the East by Jürgen Osterhammel. The Enlightenment's encounter with Asia, and this is actually way bigger than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a little thing, but it's not. That's awesome, actually. But it says here on the inside flap, during the long 18th century, Europe's travelers, scholars, and intellectuals looked to Asia in a spirit of puzzlement, irony, and openness. In this panoramic and colorful book, Jürgen Osterhammel tells the story of European Enlightenment's nuanced encounter with the great civilizations of the East, from the Ottoman Empire and India to China and Japan. Here is the acclaimed book that challenges the notion that Europe's formative engagement with the non-European world was invariably marred by an imperial gaze and presuppositions or presumptions of Western superiority. Osterhammel shows how major figures such as Leibniz, Voltaire, Gibbon, and Hegel took a keen interest in Asian culture and history, and introduces lesser-known scientific travelers, colonial administrators, Jesuit missionaries, and adventurers who returned home from Asia bearing manuscripts in many exotic languages, huge collections of ethnographic data, and stories that sometimes defied belief. Osterhammel brings the sights and sounds of this tumultuous age vividly to life, from the salons of Paris and the lecture halls of Edinburgh to the deserts of Arabia, the steppes of Siberia, and the sumptuous courts of Asian princes. He demonstrates how how Europe discovered its own identity anew by measuring itself against its more superior continent, and how it was only toward the end of this period that crusader forms of Eurocentrism um, prevailed. Okay, fascinating. If that doesn't sound fascinating to you, I don't know what will. That is right up my alley. How awesome is that? Okay, I'll put these together. These are two soft covers, and they're both about the economy. I have had good experiences with reading about the economy from Princeton University Press. There was a great one that came out, I think, a year ago, called As Gods Among Men or something like that. But it was a study of the rich in the West, and it was awesome, and it had a great Rembrandt painting on the cover. But the first one is Adair Turner, Between Debt and the Devil, Money, Credit, and Fixing Global Finance. And then we've got A Culture of Growth, The Origins of Modern Economy by Joel Macure. I will leave those at that. I don't know much about either, but I'm excited to read both. This is the one that it justifies the whole thing. I've been looking forward to reading this for a long time, since it came out. This is To the Success of Our Hopeless Cause by Benjamin Nathans, The Many Lives of the Soviet Dissident Movement. Princeton University Press, and really not just Princeton University Press, a lot of really great publications or publishers have been putting out very large, very rigorous, very impressive studies of the Soviet Union, at least once a year for the past couple of years, which has been awesome to read. And Princeton University Press, I got two of them last year, The House of Government and The Soviet Century, which were two of my favorite reads from last year. So having their new one, To the Success of Our Hopeless Cause, was a must for me. And this one looks like it's going to be even more, I don't know, possibly even more dramatic than the other two that I read. I'm so thoroughly looking forward to it that I can't even put it into words. It's awesome. Then we've got this surprisingly big book, The Life and Art of Albrecht de Durer. It's a biography of Albrecht de Durer. I think it's also a study of Albrecht de Durer's art by Erwin Panofsky. I have actually this by Erwin Panofsky, his Perspective as Symbolic Form. This is put out by Zone Books. I don't know if this is put out by Zone. No, I guess not. Interesting. But yeah, surprisingly big on this one, which is awesome. I'm assuming because we get a bunch of art in there. That's great. Oh wow, look at that! Oh my gosh, I've read a fair bit about Albrecht de Durer. I love reading about Albrecht de Durer, and this is a classic study. There's been well, I don't know if it's a classic study, but it's been around for a while. It's been reprinted several times. So very happy to have this. Can't wait to read it. And it won't be the last thing on Albrecht Dürer in here, you'll see. But then we've got A History of the Muslim World from Its Origins to the Dawn of Modernity by Michael Cook. I think the cover there, or the title there, is pretty self-explanatory, but it does say this book describes and explains the major events, personalities, conflicts, and convergences that have shaped the history of the Muslim world. The body of the book takes readers from the origins of Islam to the eve of the 19th century, and an epilogue continues the story to the present day. Michael Cook thus provides a broad history of civilization remarkable for both its unity and diversity. After setting the scene in the Middle East of late antiquity, the book depicts the rise of Islam as one of the great black swan events of history. It continues with the spectacular rise of the Caliphate, an empire that by the time it broke up had nurtured the formation of a new civilization. It then goes on to cover the diverse histories of all the major regions of the Muslim world, providing a wide-ranging account of the key military, political, and cultural developments that accompanied the eastward and westward spread of Islam from the Middle East to the shores of the Atlantic and the Pacific. There you go. I'm excited about this. I have spent a lot of time in predominantly Muslim countries, so I love it. So I can't wait to read that. Then we've got The Word Horde: Daily Life in Old English by Hannah Vaden. Don't know how to pronounce that, but this is awesome. I actually forgot that I ordered this. I thought this was one of the ones that I cut. I'm very glad that I didn't, because I am reading about the Middle Ages right now, and I believe that this is daily life in Old English, and so it's a study. It's a slim study, but it's a study of Old English and how Old English was used. I believe the title here, Word Horde, is a reference to the technique of kenning, where you take two words together and sort of create an imaginative definition for a new word. So in this case, Word Horde would, I think, be in reference to a vocabulary, which is awesome. So that's great. Then we've got this new translation of Volume 1 of Capital by Karl Marx. This is a new translation, and it's the first one that we've had, and I don't know how long, but a long time. And I'm excited to read it in a really nice hardcover. A new major translation of the explosive book that transformed our world. I don't think that Marx's Capital needs any introduction, but I'm happy that we have a new translation of it. And I actually don't know if there's going to be a translation of the other two. I mean, I'm assuming there would be, but maybe it'll just be Volume 1. I'm not sure. Then we've got this. If you follow me for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of Erasmus. This is Arasmus, Man of Letters, by Lisa Jardine. The Construction of Charisma in Print. Erasmus was very much a man of letters, and his reputation was very much made, or his letters contributed a lot to his reputation, I should say. Let me just quickly read the back here. The name Erasmus of Rotterdam conjures up a golden age of scholarly integrity and the disinterested pursuit of knowledge, when learning could command public admiration without the need for authorial self-promotion. Lisa Jardine, however, shows that Erasmus self-consciously created his own reputation as the central figure of the European intellectual world. Erasmus himself, the historical as opposed to the figural individual, was a brilliant maverick innovator. Okay, don't like the word maverick used in context with Erasmus, but that's just me, I guess. Maverick innovator who achieved little formal academic recognition in his own lifetime. Really? That's news to me. What Jardine offers here is not only a fascinating study of Erasmus, but also a bold account of a key moment in Western history, a time when it became impossible to believe in the existence of something that could be designated European thought. Well, I do agree with that. Okay, so we'll see. This looks like something that I will enjoy reading regardless of whether or not I agree with every word of it. So, and obviously I'm assuming Jardine knows a lot more than me anyway, so we'll just sit and learn. Next we've got Uncovering Dinosaur Behavior. Look at that. How fun is that? David Hone, What They Did and How We Know. This is a wonderfully slim, awesome little volume on dinosaurs and dinosaur behavior. Which is fascinating because obviously we know about dinosaurs, but how they behaved and what they did is, I'm assuming, what the focus of this book is going to be about, and that's awesome. And I just love this cover. I can't get over it. It's so exciting, and there are so many wonderful pictures inside of it as well. I've got several books that reference dinosaurs in my books on natural history, but I don't have a real standalone volume, especially on dinosaur behavior of all things. So that's fascinating and so much fun. Can't wait to read that. And then we have Ancient Christianities by Paula Friedrichsen. Looks like this one was damaged in shipment, which is a little disappointing. But yeah, Ancient Christianities, the first 500 years, Paula Friedrichsen. We've got, of course, a quote by Peter Brown on the back. That's awesome. Let me read the inside flap, actually, of this one real quick. The ancient Mediterranean teemed with gods. For centuries, a practical religious pluralism prevailed. How, then, did one particular god come to dominate the politics and piety of the late Roman Empire? In Ancient Christianities, Paula Friedrichsen traces the evolution of early Christianity, or rather of early Christianities. Yes, very much so. And always Christianities, through 5 centuries of empire, mapping its pathways through the hills of Judea to the halls of Rome and Constantinople. It is a story with a sprawling cast of characters, not only theologians, bishops, and emperors, but also gods and demons, angels and magicians, astrologers and ascetics, saints and heretics, um, um, aristocratic patrons, and millenarian enthusiasts. Yes, all played their part in the development of what became and remains an energetically diverse biblical region. Okay, I'll stop myself there. That's awesome. And you know what's fascinating about this book is how short it is. I have many books about the first 500-ish years or the first 1,000 years of Christianity. This is one of the few that is, clocking in at 200 pages? I mean, good Lord. That's not a point against this book. I'm just interested in seeing how Friedrichsen is able to make her points and argue what she'll argue in this book in just 200 pages, because this is a study. This is a topic that famously has resulted in many, 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 many long books, many multi-volume books even, on that particular subject. So that's awesome. And then this is our second book on Albrecht Dürer. Look at that. This is by Zone Books. I don't know if you know anything about Zone Books. They put out some very strange stuff. And I believe they were bought out by Princeton University Press pretty recently. But this is by Mitchell Merbank, Perfection's Therapy, an essay on Albrecht Dürer's Melancholia 1. Melancholia 1 is one of Albrecht Dürer's most enigmatic woodcuts, and this is just a truly remarkably beautiful volume. I love just holding this and looking at how well this is put together. This cover is incredible, I think. I really don't know what Mitchell Merbank is going to make of Melancholia 1, but I'm going to be along for the ride, whatever it is. That is awesome. And then finally, we've got Natural Magic, Emily Dickinson, Charles Darwin, and the Dawn of Modern Science by Renee Bergland. Check that out. Another really great cover. This is, I have no idea about this book. However, as if you followed this channel before, you know I like reading about Darwin. And I also like reading about the intersection between poets and artists and science. And I've read a lot of really great books on that subject. There's also been horrible books on that subject. This is not an easy discussion to have. You can very easily slip into kind of wooey and really just, you know, just overly precious arguments about the importance of art and whatnot in relation to science and things like that. I have my guard up when I read books like this, but I've also read tremendous books that are, for example, I've talked about it on this channel before, but Richard Holmes's book on The Age of Wonder, where in one breath he'll talk about astronomers or explorers or cartographers, and then in the next breath he'll talk about the poets that were alive at the time, like Coleridge or Wordsworth or whatnot. And so it's just made for an incredible book, and I'm hoping that this book will be in that latter category rather than in that category of books that really make you want to roll your eyes on the subject. But anyway, that's the stack. I'm not going to hold it up because I'll break an arm. But that's awesome. Again, in no way am I sponsored by Princeton University Press, but if you want to take advantage of any of these sales, any of these books, they are 50% off. All of the books that I just showed off are 50% off right now. And then, of course, they've got a whole massive catalog of books on their website that you can check out at your leisure. And there's still time left in the month to take advantage of it. So Yale University Press's haul is in the mail. I'll probably make a video about that when I get it. But that's it from Princeton, and that'll do it for me today. Thank you, BookTube.